What's up? It's your boy Karceno here, man. And a lot of people ask me to go over the Def Jam and Rocafella, the record label, and what happened and all that stuff. Like, how did Jay-Z, I thought he was independent with Rocafella. How did he end up with Def Jam? He was like, I was looking at Reasonable Doubt, and Reasonable Doubt don't have Def Jam on it. I was like, well, see, here's what you don't understand. They tried to get a deal with all the majors. Now, a lot of you have heard the story that nobody wanted to sign Jay. That's a lie. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys flat out everything on this video. You're going to know why things were put in position in the way they were. Okay? When Jay was out, and he was one of the writers for Foxy Brown. So when he was one of the writers for him, Smooth the Hustler was another writer for them. They didn't really like Smooth the Hustler. They liked Jay-Z. Russell liked Jay. He liked his demeanor. He liked everything about Jay. He liked how he could write R&B songs. And when she did the song, ain't no nigga the one I got, no one could make me better, Russ is like, oh, that just put Foxy on the map. And Jay is writing for her, Smooth the Hustler's writing for her. He wanted Jay on Rocafella. And he always, on Def Jam, he's, man, come on, Jay, you gotta make that move, man. You gotta think about your career. You know, all the stars. We got all the stars here at Def Jam. You wanna be a star, you gotta come to Def Jam. Man, let me and Leo work on it. We'll work on your deal, man. We'll get you over here. Because, you know, we want you, man. We want you. You deserve to be a big star, man. I mean, you're not like none of these other rappers, man. All these fake mothers. You know what I'm saying? You could write for other people, man. You could be writing for other artists, man. You're gonna be a multi-millionaire, you know? You're gonna be sitting in your own office, you know, just writing rhymes for people. You ain't even got to rap if you don't feel like it. You're gonna be a star. So Russell's blowing up Jay's head, and, you know, and trying to say, man, you the next one. And the fact that he was aligned with Biggie and Puffy, you know, and everybody else, Puff was trying to get with Jay, and Dame wouldn't let that happen. Dame like, y'all ain't stealing my artists. But Jay was looking like, look, I'm trying to blow. Anybody that's talking about getting me on, I'm with it. But here's the thing that a lot of you guys didn't understand. The rumor has it that nobody wanted to sign Jay-Z. You know, like, man, his style, nobody was interested in that style. That's not true. People tried to sign Jay-Z. Dame Dash and Rocafella Records, their demands was they started Rocafella because at first, that style that he had, Jay-Z, the check of the J, check of the A, check of the Y, Z, the original rap, original facts, you know, all of that stuff was getting played. And it was at its end. It had ran its course. So the Iggity style was fading out. You know, by like 92, 93. It stayed from like early 2002 to like 94. It was faded out. By that time, everybody was using that Iggity style. So it was done. It had a short run. It was like the Bone and Twisting Them style. You know, that had its run. That might come back around again one day. But it hasn't gotten there yet. But at this time, it was phasing out. And here comes Jay with that style. You know, and he got trying to shop the I Can't Get With That and all the other songs. Check out the A, check out the A, check out the Y, Z. And so a lot of people was like, okay, well, he sounds just like any other person. What's so special about this Jay-Z? You know, so at first they didn't do the signing. But there were people that was interested, but they just wasn't all the way in. So Payday was the only people that was willing to work with them, but they only wanted to do a deal for a single. Like, yeah, give us a single, we'll put the singles out. We ain't about doing albums, we're about singles. So Payday was in it for that. And they brought in Biggs, you know, because Biggs had legal money. So wanted to partner with Biggs, and they were able to turn into a record label and get their own imprint. Now that they got their own imprint of Rocafella Records and got a little office, and they were able to make a little moves, they were trying to get Jay's first album push, get it done and put out. And that was hard to do because they signed with Freeze Records, and Freeze didn't really have that kind of pull and that kind of money, to really push it out there. And they did the best they could, and it came out to be epic. They got the approvals, they got the clearances, they did what they had to do. They hustled. And it was a big, strong move, but it was a proud move. I was like, these guys did their thing. So once they held it down, it was like, once they did that, it was like, shoot, it was on. But Reasonable Doubt didn't do, what people thought it was going to do. And because of it, it kind of suffered. And it was just like one of those hip-hop street classics that didn't really take off. But, it did good in its time. It almost went gold when it came out. So I think it did like 300,000 copies sold. But it had Biggie on it. It had like all these people on it. And it didn't take off. Because the reason why it was different sound at the time. It was a whole soul sound. It was a lot different than what people was listening to at the time. But it got everybody's attention. It got Russell's attention. It got all these other companies that wanted to partner and get Jay-Z. Now, this is where I told you a lot of people wanted Jay. But it was Dame Dash doing the hard negotiating. Dame was like, man, F that. Now they want to sign Jay. They want to sign Jay, they got to take the whole label. They ain't just going to come over here and steal our artists. We ain't seen that happen over here. Jay's a star already. He's Rocafella. Rocafella's me too. Me and Biggs. Me, Biggs, and Jay. They taking the whole label. They ain't just finna take Jay. What, you think I'm stupid? What, you think I'm stupid? I know what you trying to do. You trying to steal my artists. So Dame came in like that, and then people like, you know what? We're not even interested. We were just actually going to give you a shot, but no. But what Dame did was very smart. Dame fought for the rights of the masters of the songs, or the albums. And when you fight for that, you're going to get doors slammed in your face. Because record companies like, you want to keep the map? Who are you? And you want parity with us? No way. So, once again, Freeze Records was the only people willing to, go along with this. Freeze Records gave them the deal. Freeze is like, listen. You want parity? You can keep your masters. We'll split, 50-50. On your end and my end. We'll take a share. 50%, no problem. So let's get that deal going, and you keep your masters, and we'll get a deal. We'll do album by album deal and all this stuff. So once they did this was the angle and the pitch where Def Jam could get Jay-Z and Rocafella. They went and bought out Freeze Records for pennies on the dollar. Freeze Records was going broke. They couldn't keep up. This was strong armed, and they were strong armed by Def Jam, and they ended up having to sell to Def Jam. Now Rocafella, who just did this deal, the ink wasn't even all the way dry with Freeze Records and they deal. Now you got to see Def Jam. Now they got to have a meeting in the office, and you can't go sign with anybody else. You got to have a meeting with Russ and Leo Cohen. And Russ is like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to show them right now. We're going to make that deal. We're going to make it work. So they came in there, they wanted to do a deal, and he told them, look, this is the deal we got in place. So they had to negotiate, and they offered Rocafella $1 million. And they was like, no, we're not doing that deal. $1 million, no way. So they negotiated. They wanted something astronomical like $5 million, and they laughed at him. They said, we're willing to go up, but not to no $5 million. We'll do $1.5 million. Bring you guys on board, and we'll do a 5-album deal. Then you can re-up. If you hit certain plateaus and certain quotas, we'll re-up and see what your numbers are. Then you come re-up and after 5 albums, and then, then we'll talk for real and reach that deal. So they're excited because now they don't have to worry about paying for clearances. That's all Def Jam's problem. All they gonna do is make sure Def Jam do what they supposed to do on their half, and they gonna do what they do on their half. And for Volume 1, they went and got Puffy to EP it, and the Hitman. They went and got all these producers to work on Volume 1, and Volume 1 didn't take off like they liked. So they came right back with like a street mixtape with The Streets Is Watching, and put out their own little movie and DVD, which was exclusively Rocafella on that one. And it worked. It got the streets' attention. It got the buzz on the streets and got the word out. So when they got the word out, people were ready to rock. They was like, man, this is what's up. This is what's up right here. And that was doing, and people started going back to buy with Volume 1. So they got on the tour with Def Jam, started making their money up. Dang was still hustling, making little tracks and getting the beats that was hot. For Volume 2, Jay was thinking about retiring because Volume 1 didn't do good. He was just getting burnt out from the lack of success, and credibility-wise. And Volume 2 blew. Hard Knock Life blew up, the song, and everybody was waiting on that Jay-Z hot new single to follow it up. And once you got the hot 2 singles come out, that was it. He had the club joints, then he had DMX, who was hot, and the rest is history. The rest is ancient history. Jay decided, well, I don't have to retire now. I was just going to put Memphis Bleak out and everybody else and write for people, but now I don't have to do that. We all good. So now, Jay-Z, who has a 5-album deal with Def Jam, comes out and they put album after album after album out so quick. They signed in 1997. By the year 2000, they had completed their contract of 5 albums. So in 3 years, they put out 5 records. In 3 years. So in 3 years, they put out 5 records. Not counting the soundtracks and everything else, they put out 5 albums completed, and they re-up right after Blueprint. Blueprint 2 was the first album they did after they got all their money. They re-up back for over $20 million. It was like a little bit over 20. And that was it. They all split the money up. They were all multi-millionaires and feeling themselves that they made it till they forgot the first project of the album. It was the Blueprint 2, and it bombed. They lost so much money on it. They were so focused on the fact that they have made it to their goal that they didn't see what was next. and they took their eyes off the prize. And all Def Jam wanted to do was take. They didn't like Dame's attitude. They didn't like his cavalierness, the way he bossed Kevin Liles around, the way he thought he was God, and he disrespected Leo Cohen. So Leo was only doing that because they tried to steal Jay before and tell Jay, leave Dame and Biggs, and I'll give you Rocafella Records. And when Jay was like, I can't do that, and he told Dame them, they were pretty upset about it. And he wanted to check him on it. Like, look, you ain't stealing Jay. But by the time after Blueprint 2 flop, after Jay, Dame thanked Jay for all he did for being a stand-up dude and didn't sell out and took the re-up money, they were trying to get and sell Rocafella to Jay then. But they figured, nah, he ain't ready yet. But he'll be. And once Blueprint 2 flopped, and it was coming to the Black Album, it was all these problems with Dame, all the ways he called him. And they were like, yep, see? We got him. And that's how that happened. Next thing you know, Dame and Biggs get bought out and end up selling the company back to Def Jam in the end for $10 million. All the records they sold, they ended up selling the company back to Def Jam for $10 million. They all split $3 million apiece and some change. And Jay-Z was going to remain president of Def Jam. And he was still going to own the name Rocafella. It became Jay's. They gave it to Jay-Z. Just like Leo promised. Didn't like Dame. He didn't like Dame's delivery, demeanor, all of it. So, that's what happened. And hope that clarified a lot of things for you guys. Yeah, same thing with Rockaware. They had to split it. Dame got $22 million in revenue, which ended up being dwindled down to $7 million in cash after taxes. And that was it. I think we covered all of that. It's your boy Karceno. I'm out. And don't forget to subscribe and click the notification button. Peace.